3-0 Hillsboro leads it going to the top half of the second inning. We talk about July 4th and baseball, the tradition of it. Goes back decades and decades. Zane Zielinski, the shortstop, will start it off. And no balls and one strike. '39 was Lou Gehrig Day at Yankee Stadium. More on that in a bit. 1983, Dave Righetti of the Yankees no-hit the Red Sox at Yankee Stadium. 1985, the Mets beat the Braves. How about that score? 16-13 in 19 innings in Atlanta. The game ended at 3:55 a.m. and they shot off the fireworks at 4 a.m. Some Atlantans were startled. They thought the city was being bombed. A couple of years ago, 4 Eugene Emeralds pitchers combined on a no-hitter at PK Park over Tri-City. Just a few of the many highlights across major and minor league baseball to take place on Independence Day. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Zane Zielinski. And a look down, no swing. Full, it's 3-2. Full count to Zielinski, the shortstop. A couple of years at Illinois, Chicago, D1. The 3-2 pitch to Zielinski, and he swings and chops it out toward Hansel Luis. Fields the face high hop, throws high, and it's an error on Luis. And leadoff man aboard here in the second inning for Eugene. Well, talking about Lou Gehrig Day at Yankee Stadium. 86 years ago today, the New York Yankees held Lou Gehrig Appreciation Day in front of 61,808 fans, surrounded on the field by current and former Yankee teammates. Babe Ruth was there. Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia spoke, and Gehrig stepped to the mic, and he'd written a speech for the day, but he looked at his teammates, he put the speech in his pocket, and he spoke from the heart. Now I'm going to read to you exactly what Gehrig said 86 years ago today, as that chopper is off the glove of Tureen. That's going to be an infield hit for Dason Crows, the DH, and there are 2 on with nobody out after an error and a chop single. And Quinn McDaniel coming up. Here's what Gehrig said 86 years ago today. Fans, for the past 2 weeks, you've been reading about the bad break I got. Yet today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. I've been in ballparks for 17 years and have never received anything but kindness and encouragement from you fans. Look at these grand men. Which of you wouldn't consider it the highlight of his career just to associate with him for even one day? Sure, I'm lucky. Who wouldn't consider it an honor to have known Jacob Ruppert? Also, the builder of baseball's greatest empire, Ed Barrow. To have spent 6 years with that wonderful little fellow, Miller Huggins. Then to have spent the next 9 years with that outstanding leader, that smart student of psychology, the best manager in baseball today, Joe McCarthy. Sure, I'm lucky. When the New York Giants, a team would give your right arm to beat and vice versa, sends you a gift, that's something. When everybody down to the groundskeepers and those boys in white coats remember you with trophies, that's something. When you have a wonderful mother-in-law who takes sides with you and squabbles with her daughter, that's something. That's to deep right, and Jones brings it in. The runners were on the move. They have to get back. Quinn McDaniel lines out to right. When you have a father and mother who work all their lives so that you can have an education and build your body, it's a blessing. When you have a wife who has been a tower of strength and shown more courage than you dreamed existed, that's the finest I know. So I close in saying that I might have been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for. Thank you. That was Lou Gehrig, beset by the disease that would later bear his name, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease. This day, Yankee Stadium, 1939. 1 ball and no strikes to Jose Ramos. And that takes us to today's starting pitcher, John West. We told a story last week, but on Independence Day, this anniversary of Lou Gehrig's day, it bears repeating. West grew up near Boston, a big Red Sox fan. And while at Boston College, he got to pitch at Fenway Park in May of 2023 during his junior season. He said, it was his best college outing and probably the best day of my life. It came in Boston College's annual ALS awareness game, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, a major cause for the BC baseball team, as their captain in 2007, Pete Frates, was diagnosed with ALS in 2012 and died in 2019, but not before raising millions of dollars for ALS research by being the main social media catalyst for the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. That was Pete Frates. Well, West started at Fenway on that day 2 years ago and threw 7 strong and got the win over Notre Dame. But here's the thing. Finding a cure for ALS is even closer to John West's heart. His father, Ken, a U.S. Navy veteran, died of the disease when John was 13 years old. We'll get a look at the family here in a moment. That's a strike to Ramos, 3-2. Dad Ken, Mom Nancy, brother Mike. John is the young one there. This is when Dad was still healthy and coaching his kids' baseball teams. And then a few years later, the latter stages of Ken's battle with ALS. They've got him picked off. The throw to third base, tagged by Sim, and Zielinski is out. Good move by John West for the second out of the inning. Jason Crow's down to second on the play. So Zielinski caught stealing and picked off. And they're 2 down. A few years later, we'll show you a photo when Dad was battling ALS. And that is ball 4 to Jose Ramos. And there it is. John said, I learned a lot from that illness and his process and the way he took it on head on. He said, I learned even more from my mother and brother, who were his primary caregivers when I was young. He said, they're my heroes. That's older brother Mike, Mom Nancy. Mike, almost 5 years older than John, he says, has been my role model my entire life. There's the trio, the day he pitched at Fenway Park when John went to college at BC. His brother Mike, 5 years older, moved just a few miles away to Brighton so that he could help be there with his brother during his early college years. And John West says that his brother is his hero and his mom too. And he says he also knows that his dad is watching. He's very blessed to have had him at a time in his life when he did. Getting the Independence Day start would be meaningful to anyone, but on this 86th anniversary of Lou Gehrig Day at Yankee Stadium, here on July 4th, pitching today means even more for John West. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Scott Bandura.